Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we finally finished the scenario Dulesia, which was a pretty good scenario. I really enjoyed it. Now it's time to move on to the next scenario. Threnody, I believe it's called, also by Lazarus, and the last one I have by Lazarus. It says you can go in with an any party, so I'm just going to bring in the basic party, and we'll see what happens. Let's see, it is... Here we are. Threnody, Chapter 1. Wizards, Secret Organizations, Political Intrigue, and Teleportation. Thank you for playing Threnody. Firstly, your party is about to be destroyed. It won't be restored. You have been warned. Secondly, I repeat that this scenario is unfinished, but you should already know that. Let me explain what that means. The part that's open for you to play should be playable. Some parts are completely finished, final product type quality. Others still need polish, and this usually appears as townsfolk without dialogue or characters with sparse dialogue. The combat is downright bad. I always leave that to last. So yeah, sorry that it's not up to my usual standards. And also don't expect a tidy conclusion. Or any conclusion for that matter. There were supposed to be several more chapters, and I didn't bother trying to wrap this one up cleanly. Importantly, please don't go out of your way to break the scenario. Things should work if you stay on the beaten path, but if you pull an imben and start murdering townsfolk or something, well, let's just say I make no guarantees. Okay, I won't interrupt you again until you get to the end, so enjoy. It's hopefully better than I'm selling it to be. Something stirs you from your sleep and from your deep and restful slumber. You scramble blindly through the darkness, rubbing sleep from your eyes and attempting to light the torch by your bedside. It takes you a moment and a burned thumb to realize it's already lit. Your friend Aaron stands in the doorway, chuckling. Throw on your robes and get up already. We've got to grab some breakfast before the demonstration. Now that you unsquint your eyes, you realize the room isn't dark, and indeed the lights in the common room can be seen shining through your doorway. The tower lights are on? It must already be 8:30. 10 o'clock, to be exact. Aaron answers your worried question. I took the liberty of turning off your alarm. You stare at him, mouth agape. You recover from your shock to leap from your bed as though shot from a cannon. You throw on your blue apprentice robes and curse at Aaron. You're 2 hours late and all he does is stand there laughing. Relax, relax. Engelman went out last night. Classes are cancelled. I was kind enough to give you some extra sleep. You heave a sigh of relief and fall back onto the bed. For a second there, you thought you were going to be answering your angry master about why you'd missed first hour herbology. Hey, don't go back to bed. We've got a demonstration with Ilyena in a half hour. I figure we've got time for a good breakfast. Meet me down in the dining hall when you've got yourself dressed properly. Aaron begins to leave, but stops and sticks his head back in the room. By the way, your robes are on backwards. You curse silently as he disappears around the corner. Prologue, The Wizard's Apprentice. So we're Artemis. We've got a Wand of Warding, which increases magic resistance and blesses the user. Caster's Ring, +4 to intelligence and +10 resistance to elements and magic. Apprentice Robes, +10 resistance to elements and magic, 1 to 15 points of damage are protected. Sandals, and a Focusing Crystal, +100 spell points when used. Well, we can't cast priest spells, but we can cast mage spells. Let's see here. We've got... Holy shit, we have a lot of intelligence and endurance. What level are we? 12. Wow! Got 10 defense. Barely any melee weapons. 10 mage spells, which isn't bad. Magery, mage efficiency. We've got Bolt of Fire, Spray Acid, Haste, Slow, and Ice Lances. Why don't we have light or call... Why don't we have light? Bolt of Fire, yeah, it's a basic damaging spell, but what the hell? Why don't we have light? That's like... Light has to be the most important utility spell you could have. Why wouldn't you learn that? What mage wouldn't learn light? Wow, I got focused on that. Okay, so, we're a mage in a tower. Okay, good to know. Got more apprentice robes. As tempting as your bed looks right now, you don't have time to lie back down. You've already got 2 hours extra sleep than you'd get on a normal day. Now you've got work to do. You step out into the common room. Feels like a long time ago that you wore the beige robes of a novice. The additional living space alone makes make an apprentice's heavier workload worthwhile. The common room is empty except for Lena, who sits at the table and reads from a textbook. She fails to notice your entry. Lena reads from a textbook. She is so intent that she doesn't even notice you until you sit next to her at the table. You feel kind of bad doing so. The common room is for recreation, but when somebody is studying, the others try to be respectful. You know, however, that Lena can spare a minute to talk to you. She is the oldest apprentice in the tower, and the only thing keeping her from becoming a full-fledged mage is a lack of magical talent, not of knowledge. She has remained here in the tower, though, in a kind of counseling role for the other apprentices. She goes as she pleases through the tower and is on a fairly loose schedule with her master, Wizard Janine. She looks up as you take your seat and closes her book carefully. Hello, Artemis. You're up late. Is something the matter? Do you know where Aaron went? I think he went down to breakfast. You two are certainly up late. Oh, right. Wizard Engelman isn't here today. What do you know about my master's absence? Nothing really. You and Aaron are his apprentices. I'd expect you to know more than any of us. Master Janine hasn't told me anything, not that we discuss it all the time. Alright then. Yes, I'm going to look through every other apprentice's room. So sue me. It's what I do. You should know what I do. Well, how come only some of these rooms have bookcases? And only some of them have desks? This one doesn't have a desk. That's strange and confusing. Alright, moving on. As you walk through the basalt hallways hung with Empire banners, you ponder not for the first time the nature of the strange compound that is your home. Engelman's compound is one of many segments that make up the three massive spires that comprise the Conclave's presence in Cascadaca. The compound was granted your master by the Conclave, and is now occupied by his allies and their students. Engelman's are one of the larger private facilities here, filling 2 floors of the south spire. Oddly enough, from the inside the compound seems a sprawling 3-story tower, but a view from the outside shows this to be impossible. During your 8 years in the spires, you've noticed this phenomenon elsewhere as well. The compound may be your home, but that doesn't mean you know everything about it. You push this perplexing thought away before you tie your mind in a knot. Ah, so it's bigger on the inside. This small plaza serves as a hub for the tower's 2nd floor. To the north are stairs leading down to the 1st floor and the dining hall where Aaron is waiting for you. To the west are the novices' quarters, and to the south are the classrooms and the laboratories. At the moment, the northern stairs are the most attractive. You don't have any desire to waste time and have to rush through breakfast. I may look anyway. It doesn't respond. These are the novices' quarters. At the moment they are empty, and they likely will be until tonight. Nobody would choose to spend time in these cramped quarters. Not that novices have much choice about what they do. Novices' quarters. Lights out after 9. Well, the quarters are smaller. And they are empty. Seven, 8, 9. Someone got lucky. So there's quarters for 11 apprentices. Fascinating. You approach the windows and look out at the courtyard below. You consider the courtyard the most beautiful part of the tower. It's probably no mistake that it's the first room a visitor sees as he enters the tower. Laboratory B. This is the entry to Lab B. You'd rather get something to eat before you go looking for work. Okay. Yes. Lab A or something. Wizard Engelman's quarters. Access restricted. A shimmering blue barrier blocks the steps ahead of you. This leads up to Master Engelman's quarters. As far as you know, only he and Ileana can pass the barrier. Even the other wizards aren't allowed beyond the barrier. Dispelling this barrier is well beyond your skill. Not that you want to break into your master's quarters. You step away. You receive a jolt as you attempt to pass through the barrier. Okay, good to know. A class is currently in session here, and the professor doesn't seem pleased about the interruption. You spare a pitying glance for the novices who have to listen to his droning lecture, then turn away. Same thing here. Except there's no... Unfinished! It's unfinished. Can't read that book. Class is currently in session here, except there's nobody in there. Unfinished! It is unfinished! Alright, let's go get something to eat. Oh, down we go. The dining hall is usually crawling with students, and waking up early in anticipation of lines isn't a bad idea. Now, however, there are only a few stragglers who haven't made it to class. You could get used to this. Too bad it'll be back to normal once Wizard Engelman returns. Huh, more rooms. What are these rooms for, then? Also, I just realized there was only, like, what, 8 apprentices, 9 novices? It's interesting. Looks like a classroom of some sort. It's a hall. It's another hall of some sort. Big hall. Oh, this must be the entry hall. This is a portal room. Specifically, this room is for incoming guests. The tower's residents usually use their private portals, which are elsewhere in the tower. You haven't left Cascadaka in the 8 years since you were discovered by a Conclave agent, so you haven't had any reason to use this room. Frankly, you'd rather keep it that way. You grow queasy just thinking about your first trip to the Spires. I like the floating gems. That's new, and I like it a lot. Very nice touch. Okay, that's obviously meant to be the way out, but because this is unfinished, he didn't put any words saying you can't go this way. You step into the kitchen, possibly one of the oddest rooms in the tower, and in a place as unusual as a wizard's compound, that's saying a lot. The room itself is no different than a regular kitchen. It is the workers here that are so eerie. They're all ghosts. Or at least they look like spirits, and they certainly scared you silly the first time you saw them. You've since learned that they are magical constructs, not human souls, but their strange transparency and wavering shapes still unnerves you. I can imagine why. And that's where all the food is. Okay. Nothing else up there, so I guess we can go in here. You climb the steps to the dining area and see that Aaron has already arrived and found a seat. Not as hard as it would be usually. He sees you approaching and waves you over. This man sits across the table from Professor Irving. You've seen him around before, but never took a class with him and can't quite recall his name. Regardless, he's intent on his breakfast and his conversation with the elderly professor across from him, so you don't interrupt. The elderly Professor Irving is drinking his morning cup of coffee with another mage. He takes his time over each sip, chatting in between and blowing on the coffee even after the steam is long gone. He sees you and nods in greeting, although he doesn't break off his conversation. You don't really know Irving except from a rune-reading class you took with him 3 years ago. Not well enough to interrupt him. Alright. Aaron hands you a fork and slides the plate over to you. Lucky for you that I got enough for both of us. The kitchen is probably closed by now. Here, you can have the rest. You pick over what's left of the food and chat at the same time. It isn't often you get to eat a meal without a book in your lap. Where did Engelman go to? I don't know. He left sometime last night on urgent business, and as per usual, our master didn't see fit to leave us any details. I'd asked some of the other professors what they could tell me about it, but I'm sure all I'd get is some evasive answers. You know, the type they give when they know something they don't want to share. He leans close and says quietly, But this time I think they honestly don't know anything. They seem uneasy when he's gone, and although they won't let on, I doubt he told them any more than he's told us. Well, except Ilyena, I suppose. He wouldn't keep his wife in the dark about something like that. Odd. Just odd. What's odd? Our master's behavior, that's what. These sudden trips are growing more and more frequent, and it seems he hasn't spent a weekend here in the tower in months. What urgent business does a retired conclave magistrate have? Indeed, the last time you remember your master being this busy was back when he served as a magistrate. That was when you first came to Cascadaka nearly 8 years ago. In those early years, you knew of the tower's master only by reputation. He's since retired to be with his wife, his research, and his 2 new apprentices, yourself and Aaron. That was 3 years ago, and since then Wizard Engelman has become a mentor, and even a father to you and your friend. Now, though, as Aaron just mentioned, he has become exceedingly secretive, and this isn't the first time that urgent business has kept him from lessons. You can't think of anything that'd call him away. I'll just say this. There's more to our master than meets the eye. He's powerful. He can teleport in and out of Cascadaka without aid, even after they put up the jamming field. It's impressive, but not truly amazing. He doesn't demonstrate his power often, and it's difficult to gauge him. But sometimes, in an emergency, like our experiment with that nether portal, he'll do something that should be beyond his ability, and he'll make it look effortless. That portal had overwhelmed all the containment runes and us with them, and he stabilized it single-handedly. I doubt there's another wizard here that could have done that. What do his magical abilities have to do with this? Nothing, I suppose. He was a magistrate, so he's expected to be powerful, and many wizards are likely stronger than they let on. But he knows things too, more than anybody here. Some of the things he's showed us. You don't learn those things from the Conclave. He slips it into his lectures. He'll pose a question that at first seems hypothetical or impossible, but later you'll realize he knew the answer, that he knew the impossible all along. Nobody here knows this. He never lets on where others can hear, and I don't think even the Conclave is aware of the extent of his knowledge. Odd, but a good man to have as your mentor. Alright, so what's this demonstration you mentioned? Even though Master Engelman is gone, all of our classes for the day aren't cancelled. Ilyana is holding a demonstration in Lab B soon, and most of the wizards are going to bring their apprentices. We're going as well. I'm not really sure what the demonstration is to be about, and the other apprentices haven't been told anything either. We're going in unprepared, but we won't know less than anybody else at least. When do we leave? Don't rush, you've got time. Professor Irving is sitting over there. He indicates the man sitting at the table across from you. And that old man wouldn't hurry his cup of coffee if Emperor Claviston himself were waiting on him. The demonstration won't start until he gets there, so we'll leave when he gets up. That's all for now, thanks. Professor Irving stands up from his seat at the table beyond you. The man he was conversing with over his leisurely cup of coffee stands up as well. As Irving says his goodbyes, Aaron stands up and motions for you to do the same. If Irving is leaving, then the demonstration will start soon. I don't want to be the one that keeps Ilyana waiting. Remember, Lab B, let's go. He strides towards the stairs and you follow behind. Alright. Well, we know where Lab B is. Upstairs. I don't know why I went down. Never mind. Alright, Lab B. This way. Most of the others have arrived ahead of you and have gathered on the observation platform on the east side of the room. Several others stand on the floor to supervise the demonstration more closely. The source of all this interest is standing on a small platform in the center of the room, surrounded by containment runes and magical signs drawn on the floor. Standing in the center is a strange humanoid-shaped creation with sparkling metal skin studded with jewels. It stands erectly but lifelessly, but is nevertheless strangely intimidating. Ilyana's voice cuts through your thoughts. You realize that you are standing in the doorway staring. Please, Artemis, take your position. She motions to a spot behind her, next to where Aaron is standing. You hastily walk over. Ilyana taps her foot impatiently. All right, where is Professor Irvin? We're running 5 minutes late. I think I saw him on the stairs on the way here, Aaron replies. He should be here soon. Good. While we wait, I will explain to the apprentices what it is we are doing here. Can anybody tell me what we have set up here? Ilyana indicates a metal creation in the center of the room and the surrounding apparatuses. You, the other apprentices, and the 2 novices trade nervous glances and try hard to look inconspicuous. Aaron is the first to take a stab at it. It's a mining golem, I think. They use them in gem mines in high-pressure areas. You look over at him questioningly, and he grins and shrugs. Ilyana nods. Yes, this is indeed a mining golems. The highest quality portal gems can be found in high-pressure mines deep below the earth. The heat and pressure are far too great for a human miner, so golems like this one are used. This is a model R75 to be exact, but an expert would notice some modifications we've made from the original model. It has stronger heat shields, reinforced metal plating, and a new cold fusion drill arm. But that's just cosmetics, really. The reason for this demonstration is to show you all the animation process. We'll be... Irving, please take your position. The old hunched professor hobbles through the door just as she's saying this. He offers apologies for his tardiness and is helped to a seat by one of the novices. Ilyana continues. Is that everybody? She scans over the room, then nods in satisfaction. Good. Then I will begin the demonstration. She flips a switch on the control panel before her and begins manipulating some of the displays. The runes begin to glow more brightly, and the pillars begin to hum with energy. Notice how the energy grows increasingly concentrated as it passes through the focusing gems. Soon the pillars will reach critical mass and they will begin charging the golem. You can hear voices rising from the floor below you. There's some disturbance down there. The disturbance from the floor below you is growing louder. The novices are whispering to each other, and even Wizard Jerome looks distracted. Ilyena carries on, however. The energy these pillars can handle is remarkable. The challenge is finding an energy source powerful enough to charge them, and crystals fine enough that they don't refract the energy improperly. The energy crackles throughout the room, arcing back and forth between the pillars and the golem in the center. The golem's gems are beginning to glow brightly, and it's now surrounded by a strange aura. Suddenly the door opens and a novice steps in. Wizard Ilyena, I'm sorry, but you are needed in the entrance hall. She stares daggers at him, but he continues. It's an emergency. The novice ducks out of the room quickly, his part said. Ilyena sighs and presses a button on the panel. The energy quickly disperses and your hair slowly sinks to lay flat again. Whatever this is, Ilyena grumbles as she strides from the room. The others look at each other nervously, then follow her out. Aaron files in behind you. Well, that was interesting. And he's right behind me. Pen and ink. Put something in one of those. Yoink! The stairway leads up to the third floor. Whatever the disturbance is down below, you're willing to bet it's more pressing than looking through the library or the professor's quarters. Ow! Okay, that was not what we should have done. I like the touch on that those things cause that. Okay, let's head. You walk over and join Ilyena and the others. She is looking out over the courtyard below, where a small crowd of novices have gathered to see the newcomers, some hooded mages dressed in dark magenta robes. Who are they? Professor Warren leans closer to Ilyena to ask. I don't know, but they make me uneasy. Anytime cloaked mages barge into your home, it can't be a good thing. I'm going to go deal with them. She spins away from the window and walks towards the stairs. You and Aaron stay behind for a moment, staring out the window. What's that emblem on their chest? You lean closer to get a better look, but can't identify it. You shrug, but then realize that Aaron has already left the window and is headed towards the stairs. Yeah, stairs are over here. Every resident of the tower seems to be crowding into the plaza to the south. The dining hall is even emptier than before, as everybody has gone to look at the mysterious newcomers. Ilyena, Professor Warren, and most of the rest of the staff have gathered to confront these strange newcomers. You push past the crowds of novices that have come to see the spectacle in an attempt to get a better look. The mages wear blood-red robes and bear an unfamiliar emblem on their breasts. It appears to be a dripping dagger. There are nearly a dozen of them crowded into the entry, and all of them have their hoods pulled low to obscure their faces. Ilyena is addressing the one that seems to be their leader. I have told you the master of the tower is out. We do not know when he will return. If you have no other business, I will ask you to leave. I'm afraid that leaving is not an option, madame. The cloaked figure answers calmly. We must see the master of the tower, one Wizard Engelman. If you will not surrender him to us, we will search him out. And who do you think you are to give an order like that to me? Ilyena says indignantly. I come from High Inquisitor Janus, strong arm of His Majesty Emperor Claviston himself. Hand over the traitor, or face his wrath. You call my husband a traitor? In my own home? I don't care if you're Demetrius Bloody Radican. You don't enter without a warrant sealed by the Conclave. I know the law. I think, madame, the cloaked mage sneers, that you mistake my last demand for a request. The order doesn't ask. We take. Lightning crackles from the cloaked mage's fingertips, striking the three wizards. Ilyena alone reacts quickly enough, throwing up her staff to catch the bolt just in time. The others crumple to the ground as the energy strikes them full in the chest. The other blood-robed mages waste no time following suit. The air crackles as spells fly. Ilyena stumbles back from the force of the mage's attack. Lifeless bodies lay sprawled all around the room. Why? What just happened here? Run! You hear her shout as she falls back towards the door, laying blasts of magic all about the cloaked attackers. Very few are in any condition to heed her call. She hauls you up as she scrambles out the door, then proceeds to slam and seal it. You are amazed you survived the fireball until you realize it wasn't your own instincts, but rather Aaron's quick reaction that deflected it and saved you both. A blast of magic strikes the sealed doors, but you are already scrambling towards the stairs, leaving the slain novices behind you. Ilyena urges you on. There is nothing back there. None are alive, just run. Make it to the second floor and we have a chance. You can hear the explosions buffering the door behind you. It won't last much longer. The threat out of sight for at least the moment, you screech to a halt. What the hell was that all about? What happened back there? There is no time to explain. If I were there, I would try, but I don't know how good a job I could do. I will be leaving you soon. There is much that needs to be done if total disaster is to be averted. She runs south towards the Overlook, shouting for you to follow. The Overlook affords you a view of the carnage you witnessed earlier. Looking down at the burned and blasted corpses of your peers and teachers, you realize just how brutal it was. Ilyena stands with her head in her hands, shaking spasmodically. When she turns around, her face is streaked with tears. I'm sorry you had to see this. I'm sorry I can't give you an explanation for why this happened, but there is no time. What do we do now? We have to get out. We cannot fight those men. They attacked us so quickly, so unexpected. Perhaps if my husband was here. But he isn't, and now we are 3 against many. We must get out of this tower. We must get out of Kaskadaka. She reaches into her robes and pulls out a simple white rod and an incandescent orange jewel that shines like the sun. A teleportation rod, Aaron says almost instinctively. Yes, take it to the library upstairs. There are focusing gems in my desk there. It will take you far from here. She presses the gem and rod into your hands and doesn't let go until you clasp them tightly. There has been a jamming field around the capital since the rebellion, but with the sun shard you can break through it. What about you? I have business to attend to. There are things here that mustn't fall into the wrong hands, and I will make sure they don't. You look at her in confusion. Do not worry about me. When my task is done, I will escape. We must part for now. That is your master's teleportation rod, and I do not know what destination he has configured for. But wherever you arrive, I will find you. Eventually we will meet again, and all will be made clear. Now go! And with that she sprints down the hallway to the east. Aaron looks towards Lab B to the west. The library is on the 3rd floor. Let's get moving. The room looks the same as it last did. The mining golem stands in the center of the room glowing gently. Its gems pulse from the energy that was recently infused in it. It looks imposing, but it isn't truly animated yet. The experiment was stopped short, and now the residual energy is leaking away. Your gaze slips past the metal creation to the door to the south. Behind that door is the stairway to the 3rd floor, and hopefully your salvation. You can hear your enemies clambering up the stairs from below. They're growing closer. The stairway spirals up to the 3rd floor. You look at the white rod in your hand. This thing is supposed to get you out of here, but right now it's no more useful than if it were a lead bar. The focusing crystals you need are upstairs, but you can hear the cloaked mages drawing closer. You begin climbing, taking the stairs 2 at a time. Alright, let's see if we can at least get out here quickly first. This portal room is for tower residents. About 3 months ago, the Conclave declared that it would put a jamming field around Kaskadaka to control who enters and leaves the city. A skilled mage can get around a weak jamming field like this one, and a properly configured portal could get through it as well. It did, however, increase the risks involved in portal travel, so teleportation traffic into the city has declined. Regardless, there is no portal here, so you will have to take your chances with your teleportation rod. It isn't as stable as a portal created with stabilizing runes and the like, but it's all you have. You have no choice. Sun shard is an object. Ivory rod. You can hear the pursuit clambering up the stairs from below. They are glowing closer. You must find those portal gems. They are supposed to be in a desk in the library. You step through the heavy doors of the library and quickly slam them shut behind you and lock them tight. You doubt this will hold your pursuers for long, but every second counts. That done, you heave a small sigh of relief. If you made it here, you might actually get out of here alive. The portal gems are so close. But what if Ilyena was mistaken? What if there are no gems here? You quickly thrust the thought from your mind. It doesn't bear thinking about. The desk is near and the gems will be in it. They must be. There, must be up here. They're here! 2 dazzling green emeralds lie in the desk's drawer, their many facets reflecting the magical lighting of the ceiling. They are the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. An explosion below you seems to shake the tower itself, but you are too absorbed in the gems to pay it any heed. You hear Aaron curse under his breast. Ilyena, that must have been her. Gods, I hope she's all right. Okay, grab the 2 emeralds. You have them? Aaron asks. You nod silently, still entranced by the sparkling jewels that have saved your life. We'll get them over here already. We're not out of here yet. You didn't drop that rod or anything, did you? You hand the rod, 2 emeralds, and the sun shard to Aaron. He looks the rod over carefully. The handle is a shaft of pure white ivory. It's narrow so that you can easily wrap your hand around it. At the end of the handle is a hexagonal, ornate metal head, 2 of the faces of which have a small socket the size of the portal gems you just found. At the very tip is another socket, this one a little bigger. You are beginning to grow impatient. You can hear a blast at the library door, but Aaron doesn't hurry at all. You want me to screw this up? We'll end up in the middle of the bloody ocean, so just calm the hell down. Finally, he places the 2 emeralds in the side slots and carefully fits the sun shard to the top socket. He looks it over, then holds it out to you. Hold it here, just above my hand. You do so. The 2 of you barely have room to grasp it. You grasp the rod tightly. Your hands are slick with sweat and it's difficult to grip. Aaron looks at you questioningly and you nod. He reaches out and presses a small jewel at the head of the rod. Just then the doors to the east are blasted open. You can feel the magic of the ivory rod wrapping around you and Aaron. The room around you feels distant, as though you are looking at it from far away. You are stretching, not just your body, but your entire being. Stretching, stretching, pulled so thin that you feel you are about to split. Then it happens. The library begins to fade and you can feel yourself becoming more whole. Then a bolt of energy strikes you. You don't know from where. The bolt strikes the ivory wand like it were a lightning rod. Suddenly the room isn't fading and it isn't growing sharper either. You look at the rod and see that the tip is shattered. You are being stretched thinner and thinner, pulled in all directions by the raging energy from the ruined teleportation rod. It takes all your effort to just hang on to it. You clutch it with both hands as a shipwrecked sailor grasps a floating spar. The library snaps back into focus, then wavers again. You can't tell if the room itself is changing or if it's the torrent of energy swirling about you that is distorting your perception. Nothing is as it seems. The room shifts and changes. You can hardly perceive the room's current shape before it changes again and again and again. Then it stops. The world wavers one last time, then rights itself. You are no longer standing in the library. You aren't in Engelman's tower either, or even in Skas Tadaka. As a matter of fact, this place looks like no place you've ever been. You are lying on a stone table, stripped to bare skin. Your clothes and belongings are lying in a pile at your feet. As you pick them up, you realize that the rod and gems aren't here. Fear grabs a hold of you. Aaron is no place to be seen, and neither is the rod. Wherever you are, you could be here a while. You feel as if you've already been here for years, but you remember being in the library just an instant ago, so that can't be. You sit with your legs hanging over the edge of the stone slab, wondering where you are. This is like no place you've ever seen or heard about. The walls, the floor, even the water in the nearby pool seems to shimmer with a strange luminescence. Everything feels sterile, like a clinic, but nothing about this place is uncomfortable. It is a perfect temperature, And although the air doesn't feel any different, each breath brings a wave of calm over your body. You look about for anybody to explain what's happening here, but see nobody. And that is the end of this episode. Well, that was quite a thing. I mean, classic start in a way. You're an apprentice in a tower, and then all of a sudden everything goes wrong. Thankfully, it wasn't an experiment that went wrong, but just people from elsewhere who showed up and caused madness and destroyed your hometown. I mean, home tower. I mean, learning place. I mean, you know what I mean. So now we're somewhere else, and we don't know where. The good news is we're alive. Even though it looks like the rod was destroyed as it happened, which could have ended up tearing us to itty-bitty atoms. Yeah, that would have been fun. Anyway, next episode we'll explore this place to try and find out where the hell we actually are. Till then, I'm Chester44, that is Artemis apparently. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.